Hi! Sorry I'm a little late there. Technical difficulties again. Now, this time, my phone would not let me go to live video. It wouldn't let me start it. It just says it's already in progress. So I had to start over and create a new event and start again. So thanks for bearing with me. I hope you find me here. Let's see. I'm going to check out my iPad and computer and see if I see comments, because my original event just would not work. So we shall see if this one does. Cross our fingers. I don't see anybody watching, so hopefully I am really live. We will see here. Now, get the volume off. Yay. Now I've got comments. Everybody thinks I'm not doing it because I was late. Dang. Hate that. I was here. I was trying. Just wasn't working for me. Let's see if anybody tunes in. Hopefully you'll find me. We've got a share. I don't have any comments. I don't see any views at the moment. Hopefully my peeps didn't give up. But I am Kelley Pitts, for those of you who haven't met me before. Kelley Pitts, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Lubbock, Texas. Sorry for shaking the table there. I'm trying to put my knee up. I just had knee replacement surgery recently and trying to figure out how to do all these things with it. Now we've got one. Hi, Judy. I was just explaining my first event just wouldn't open on my phone. Never had that on the Facebook Live before, but it just said, nope, already happening. So I didn't have any buttons to push or anything, so I just had to create a new event. So I'm glad you found me. Hopefully some others will too, because it started a little late because it wouldn't let me start on time. Yay. Hope y'all are having a good week. I'm glad you're tuned in, Judy. You've recently had knee surgery too. My goodness. We've had 3 of us now in our small group. 3 people who have had knee surgery in the last month. Kind of crazy, as Judy would say. I'm glad you're here, Judy. I am kind of hanging out, waiting to see if anybody else tunes in. I hope they didn't give up because I wasn't there right at 7:15. So let me get my iPad going just in case we get some more comments. Get some more people here. And Judy, I did get to go see Claire today, and she was happy to have me visit. Steve dropped me off though and was waiting in the car, so I didn't get to visit very long, but she was doing okay, managing, she said, so that's good. Let me check my iPad again for the fun fold. There we go. Okay, whoops, got to turn that down. Let me check. Okay. See if I can get comments there. Yes. Okay, Judy, I'm glad you're up to watching. I will probably just go ahead and let me show you the card we're going to make. This is one. Try to see which way is better for you to see it there. A fall card with the Beauty of the Earth suite, which I've had this designer series paper for quite some time and haven't made a card with it. So this is kind of a fun fold that Amy Story was doing a mystery stamping last night on our Connect and Create group. That's okay, Judy. You just jump off. I understand, because I've got my leg propped up. I'm going to prop it up, prop it down. Put it up, put it down. Yeah. So anyway, we may just wait and do this next week. So if nobody else tunes in, because I may have already blown the window with that other event. In fact, I may type in some comments on that other event if it'll let me, and just say, come on over if you want to hang out a minute. I'm going to go see if I can get to that on my computer, get to that other event, and type something in. Just a sec here. Nope, not letting me do anything. Isn't that interesting? It won't even let me type in a comment there on that live video. Well, they change something all the time. Hi, Diane. I was having trouble. That first event just would not work for me, so I had to recreate another event. And I was trying to put a comment on the previous one, and now I don't know where I am exactly on it. But I'm just going to go back and watch it, and we'll just see what happens. But I'm glad you're here, Diane, too. Okay, what we're going to do, this is the card I was telling Judy earlier, that it's a simple little fun fold, and it's made with the Beauty of the Earth designer series paper. So this is one that Amy did as a mystery stamping card last night on our Connect and Create group. That's a lot of fun. We're going to have a mystery night one of these days, but we're going to kind of use a little bit different color. We're going to use, this one is done with Cajun Craze, and I'm going to show y'all an option with the Mary Merlot to show you how that changes it a little bit. But I've got most of these things stamped and die cut for this, and then it needs a little embellishment. So I haven't finished the inside of this, but this is a belly band. I'll take it off from this side so you can see how the fold is. See, it just opens like that. So you've got the pretty scallop contour rectangle on the inside, and it just flaps over, and then the belly band just slips right on. So that's what we're going to be working on. It is easier to do it when it's not backwards and trying to hold it and get in the camera. Good. Thanks, Judy. Glad you like it. Okay. I'm going to switch the camera on down, and y'all hang with me. Now, hopefully we're cooking with gas here. Oops, my cord's showing. Let's get that out of the way. And we'll get this card out there. Judy, hope you're doing all right. Hanging in there. I know this is not a fun 2 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks, however long. It takes a little while, doesn't it? Okay. See, still a little bit crooked, but we're working it. Okay, we've got all kinds of leaves to play with. Excuse me. And I have the sizes here of the cardstock and the DSP, if you're interested in that. And I wanted to show you the Beauty of the Earth Suite in case y'all don't have it. I think Judy and Diane, who are watching, already have it. But we have this version. This is the one that we did tonight. We used front and back. We've got a lot of cute patterns. Those trees. So we've got Misty Moonlight, Mossy Meadow, Cajun Craze, Mary Merlot, and Old Olive. Very pretty colors. So you get the designer series paper comes actually in a 12 by 12 sheet, and I have cut that down. The designer series paper pieces are actually cut to, let me show you what we're going to do tonight with the Mary Merlot, just to show you a little bit different. We're going to have the same designer series paper and use the Mary Merlot for the cardstock. And the cardstock is 5.5 by 11. And then you cut a separate sheet that is 1 inch by 11. So you're using more of a cardstock sheet than half, like you usually use on a card as a card base. You're using most of an entire sheet to do it this way. So, but I think it's well worth it to get that fun fold there. Let's get that. I've already got it scored, and it is scored at 1 3/4, 5 1/2, and 9 3/4. Okay, so when it folds over, it folds into your typical card base of 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So we're going to show you the difference here whenever we use the little bit different card base color. And this is easy peasy to, you could use your Stampin' Seal, you can use your liquid glue, whatever you'd like to use for this. And all we're doing is gluing this down. Let me get my Stampin' Seal going here. And if you can't really get it going, well, you can use your silicone mat to get it going. And you kind of hold it level and then pull it back toward you to kind of cut. It's a tape. The glue is in a tape strip. So you just make sure that tape is cut. Let's see, which way do we want it? I think we want it this way. So just kind of give yourself an even border all the way around on the DSP, and this goes in the front. And this piece of DSP is 3 1/2 by 5 1/4. And then you've got another of that same pattern that is 1 by 5 1/4. And that goes on the outside one here. So we're just going to do the same thing here. Give that a little glue. Make sure and break that tape. Kind of get that even border all the way around. There's that strip. And then I used actually the other side of this paper for the middle section. And that Designer Series paper, the number 2, is 1 1/2 by 5 1/4. So it's a little bit wider than this piece because it goes on the inside and that overlaps it. So you need a little bit more room. So just pay attention to make sure you're putting it the right way on your cardstock. Give it the even border all the way around. And there you go. Now you can see, even with just that small change, that it looks similar, but they each bring out different colors. You can tell that the Mary Merlot kind of color pops out a little bit more on this one than it does on this one. And this one is more the orangey or Cajun Craze colors. So that's kind of fun that you can make a change that easily. Okay, then we're going to do our belly band. And this, as I said, is 1 inch by 11. So we're going to, instead of scoring this, I usually wrap it around, and you would normally think to wrap it around the back so that this would be hidden, but actually you want to do it in the front so that it's hidden with your greeting. So I just always make sure I hold it like I think it's going to go. Make sure it's not too tight, make sure it's not too loose. And that fits over just like that. So if you'll, instead of just using a score line, just fold it over here. Get this one even, and then you can score it if you want, but you're leaving yourself a little bit of room to slip on and off of the card that way. And we're just going to use some, lost my computer thing there. Let's see where everything went. So now I can't see your comments. Okay, let's go back. Yikes. There we go. Now I'm back. Okay. Hi, Glenn. Glad you joined. Not only I'm glad you just found us, because it wouldn't let me go in on my first event that I created. It would let me start it on the computer, but then I wouldn't be able to use my phone to shoot down. As far as I know, I just started over on a new event, so that's the way I did it. Made that happen. I'm just going to use a little liquid glue there. And I should have done it the other way. We may want to cut a little bit of that off. Make sure our banner is going to cover that up. I was chit-chatting and not paying attention there. Okay, we're gonna hope I have some wet wipes that I can find. If not, we're just gonna wipe that off for right now. It'll be fine. Okay, so there we have our belly band, just holding it down, letting that liquid glue dry a little bit. And then we're going to do our label. And I had trouble on this label that I did on the, whoops, we're kind of switching cards off there. This is for the Merlot card. This one, I stamped it in Mossy Meadow and it wasn't quite heavy enough, so I went over it with the marker. So I decided this one, I'm going to try the Stamparatus and show y'all how that works, in case you haven't tried that. And anytime you're stamping on a different color besides Whisper White, it is harder to get that perfect impression there that you want. So the Stamparatus is definitely a good way to go on it. That way you have more than one shot. Glad you're with us, Glenn. Okay, we're going to take the Mossy Meadow and I'm going to ink this up. And all I did was line up the Amazing on my paper here. I just laid the actual stamp on my paper. I meant to show you that part and then didn't do it. Lined it up on there, picked it up with the plate. Now I'm just using nice even pressure. Whoops, I'm off camera here. Somehow my Archon stand got adjusted when I was doing something else here, and it's not where it used to be. So kind of get used to the field of vision here. Okay, and even though that came out of the label, I had the magnets there in the template, so hopefully that will work just as well. I just didn't have enough room, I didn't think, for the magnets to be on the actual label itself. So hopefully this will work. We're going to turn that, get that to hold it down a little bit more. And this Stamparatus is a great tool. If you don't have one or haven't ever had one, I could certainly let you play with mine if y'all are in the Lubbock area and see what you think of it, because it really helps a lot. Whoop. I'm just going to get that A. Everything else I think was okay. There we go. Now we have a better impression. So you see how the template works. I was going between two different labels and decided I like this one better. So that's what we're going to stick with. I'm going to just use my little Stampin' Chamois to clean this off really quickly before we move on. Okay, I'll move that out of the way. Now I've got the Your mounted, and I think I kind of like the contrast of having two colors on the little band. So I'm using Early Espresso, and I am sticking to colors that are in the Designer Series paper that I'm using, not just what's in the pack, because not necessarily everything in the paper pack goes with this particular paper, in my opinion. So, since I'm doing the card, that's the way we're going to do it tonight. But it's your card. When you make one at home, you do it the way you want. It is your card. You get to create with it. Okay, we're just going to, I've got the Your mounted on a block because that's a lot easier to do than that Amazing is such a big, it's a little bit bigger stamp. So this is easier to control. So I'm just going to stamp straight down, straight up. We've got Your Amazing. And we have room at the bottom to play with some little leaves. And I've got a couple of sheets that I was going to just show you on how I did the stamps. I just stamped a bunch of them, in the colors that I knew I was going to use from the designer series paper. I stamped them and I cut them out with the coordinating dies. The stamp set is called Love of Leaves, and it has the beautiful variation. This was in last year's catalog, and it's in this year's also. The Beauty of the Earth, of course, is a new designer series paper that came out in the catalog in June. And the stamp set for the Amazing, that Amazing came out of, is called Create With Friends. And that is number 156058 if you're interested in that set. The leaf set is 153452. That's the item code number. Okay. And the leaves, Love of Leaves dies. Let's see where they are here. The stitched leaves dies coordinate with that stamp set. And this one I bought last year, and I was so glad it carried over into this year's catalog. The stamps are, the dies have two parts. One does the actual cutting out around the outside, and then one does the stitching on the inside. So they're beautiful, and it has this little stitching layer die that is gorgeous also. So I have already pre-cut, I've stamped and pre-cut leaves in various colors so that y'all can kind of pick which ones we want to play with. All right, so I'll get, oh, and then we'll go ahead and stamp leaves on the inside. I wanted to show you that. I have cut out this piece from the Scallop Contours dies. That is just a beautiful die set, and that's a new one this year also. And it has a lot of different rectangular shapes. Each shape is a little bit different around the die. It has the scallops with the cutout, this one, but they all have a lot of stitching, and it coordinates with the color and contour bundle, which we did not use tonight, but we certainly could have. This is the stamp set, the color and contour stamp set that goes with that Scallop Contours dies. And of course you could make this card using any stamp sets, anything you have. This could be pumpkins instead of leaves. It could be anything. So you certainly don't have to do it the way I did it. It's just, I'm just trying to show you a fun fold and an easy way to do it. So we're going to stamp these leaves on the inside, and or we can stamp them, or we can, why don't we just use some of our leaves that we're not going to use on the outside? How about that? We'll put those on the inside. Let's see. Let's decide what we're going to use on our belly band of the card. And that way we won't have to do the stamping without the stitching. I'm kind of hooked on that, the way that the leaves look with the stitching in there. Let me see if I can get that close up enough. Can y'all see how much texture that adds to have that stitching in there? Isn't that beautiful? So if you have plenty of time, you could go ahead and stamp your Scallop Contour die piece. You could stamp it and then die cut the leaves like this. But in the essence of time, we're just going to stick some leaves on there that I've already done. Okay? Now, let's decide what we want on our belly band, which colors we want. Do y'all like, we've got the You're Amazing, and I'll just get your opinion. Do y'all like the lighter colored? We've got some of the leaves are stamped off, like this one is the first generation and that's the second generation. This is Cinnamon Cider. Then we have Cajun Craze done the same way. And then this one is Bumblebee. We've got both of those. This one is the Mary Merlot, the lighter. I didn't do the darker because it looked too pink for me. So those are two Cajun Craze. And there's a light of the Early Espresso and a dark of the Early Espresso. So we got lots to play with. Anybody have any opinions on what you think? since we didn't use Cajun Craze on the outside, we might want to use that for one of the leaves. I kind of like one of the darker and maybe one of the lighter, or either a brighter. We could use this one. We could use the brown early espresso with it. Maybe. We could use the Merlot. I think that looks kind of washed out to me though. We could use the cinnamon cider instead of the Cajun Craze if you want. I kind of like the Cajun Craze. Anybody have any opinions? If I don't see something, it does take a minute for y'all for me to be able to see what y'all are saying. So I will give you a sec, and then we may just go ahead and glue these on. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Cajun Craze. And if you are gluing on an embellishment like a leaf or whatever you're using, and you want to, it's easier to take it to the glue dot and kind of twist it, and it should come right off for you. We're going to go ahead and stick that on, and then stick the early espresso leaf on. And then I'm going to do a little bow with the, I was thinking we might use this from the Baker's Twine Essentials pack. This would work, or linen thread would work. Originally I was looking at like a gold, but I decided it was kind of too foo-foo for it. It needed the more kind of natural look, I thought. So we're just going to do a little bow and see if we can make it look like it's wrapped around those leaves without actually trying to stick it around those stems. Thought that might be a little bit tricky on air. So we will get our ribbon scissors out and chop us a little bow. Stick that on with a glue dot. And probably need to roll that. I usually, if I'm sticking on a bow like that, I kind of take the glue dot and then roll it into a little ball with my take your pick tool. Put the glue dot where I want it. Kind of unroll it off of there. And then stick your bow to it. Stick the knot in your bow to it, to the glue dot. I'm glad you like it, Judy. See you later. Have a good evening. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use dimensionals on to pop the greeting onto the belly band. Easy peasy. Whoops, not quite straight. Depends on how your belly band is on. So doesn't have to be perfect, as you can see. Alrighty, now we've got some little embellishments. I've got the holiday rhinestones. I know several of y'all have those. I think those will be pretty. I'm going to go ahead and put a bow on my other card too, so y'all can compare the Cajun Craze to the Mary Merlot. Go ahead and get this bow done. Okay. We'll put this one on the other belly band. Okay. And y'all like the holiday rhinestones with this? I think the gold ones are really pretty, and the red is a little too red, I think. So we could just use a few of this gold color, I think would be pretty. Let's see. Do we want Do y'all think that dresses it up too much, or you like that idea of scattering a few of these around? Can't tell if there are 3 sizes of this or... Okay. There we go. So all we have left to do is decide what we want on our inside of the scallop contour die. Just a second, I've got to put my knee up. Hang on. Oh. Ah. Oh. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so on the inside, you can tell I'm a brights girl. I kind of go to the deeper, brighter colors. We may go with one like this on the inside. Let's take our belly band off, open this up. We're going to have the Merlot here. And you could, if you wanted to add more of the designer series paper in here, you certainly could. I think we need to add a sentiment. I was going to add the one from the same stitch sleeve set. And it says, "I'm so glad you're in my life." Isn't that sweet? I think we will go with that the only one showing. We could use probably the early espresso or my Mary Merlot. I can't find my refill for, so it's kind of dry. I haven't used it in a while. That's not one of my go-to colors. So otherwise I would probably use the Mary Merlot, but we're going to, I think we'll go with the deeper early espresso, because you want your greeting, especially if it's kind of a finer greeting like this, you want to have it dark enough where it will show up properly. Because if you get a light color, sometimes those just don't show up as well. So we're going to use the early espresso. Who doesn't want more amazing people in their lives, right? I'm so glad you're in my life. I'm glad y'all are in my life. Thank you for being part of the Create with Kelley crew. I appreciate that. I appreciate your support and appreciate you watching and sharing videos and helping me build my business that way. I appreciate that. Okay, that's all we're doing with the stamping, so we'll get our Stampin' Pierce mat out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and glue this in. We'll just use our Stampin' Seal on that. If I can find where I put that down, right here. And you don't really have to cover the whole thing because it's not really going anywhere on the inside. It's not likely to move much. So just kind of get this even in the borders here. And if you don't have the scallop contours die, you could certainly just cut a plain basic white piece like this and it would be fine. Or you could use one of the stitched rectangles or Stitch So Sweetly dies. Any of those would work just great. So, as I said, you could stamp directly on here and then take your piece before gluing it in and do your die cut stitches on the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Okay, there's an option. What happened? I thought we had an early espresso one that I was kind of liking. Oh, I guess we used that there. Okay, we used that dark one there. I think these pick up the colors kind of that are right here next to it, or we could do the Merlot. Not crazy about that. We could use these two. We could even do 3. I don't really like spreading things out a whole lot. And there are other leaves that we could have used. I just kind of stuck to this one pattern because it was similar to these leaves, kind of long, long and skinny. So we could use like 3 of them like that in a grouping. What do you think of that? Y'all like that one? That way it's different from the belly band. These lighter ones are just too light for me on this card. They might work great on some other cards, so I'm glad I've got them ready. But I like the first generation stamping. So we'll just stick these on. And we will be done with this card. I'm just going to use my little my silicone mat so I don't get glue everywhere. I think these are small enough. I actually may just use glue dots on here. Twist that around a little bit. I think we had that like this. And they could go a lot of different ways. I'm just trying to show you that you can do a simple, really pretty simple card fairly quickly if you've got the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. If you don't, you could certainly just stamp these leaves and they would still be pretty because they have a lot of that variation in the stamp set itself. See if we want to tuck that way. Or like this. Maybe we want to tuck him under there. How about that? That way it still leads your eye into the greeting and back. So that's the way I like to do it. There we go. How simple is that? But see, you could do this with Christmas paper. You could do it with Halloween paper. Any paper you wanted. And you can also do, here it is with the belly band that coordinates with it. And we'll do the same thing with this one. If you're not a bling gal, you might like this one better. That doesn't have the embellishments on it. So you could do those with the matching belly band like that. Or you could actually switch them up and make your belly band out of a different color, a coordinating color that still matches your DSP. This really is it's a better use of your paper if you're only going to do one card, if you want to do it matching so that you're using that one sheet of the 8.5 by 11. But if you're going to make multiple cards, you could certainly do them mix and match like that. Do y'all like the matching? Or do you like the mismatched? I kind of thought I would like the mismatched, but I don't like this one as well on there as I like that one on there. Isn't that interesting? I don't know why that would be, but I think I like the matching better. I surprised myself here. And then if you do like a little more bling, what you could do is use a little wink of Stella on the leaves and on the outside of that label to kind of accentuate the edge that it has there. See, it has that embossed, indented, I don't know if you'd call it an edge. I don't know what you would call that. It's not a seam, but I think we should try a wink of Stella, and then I will let y'all go for the evening. I think we got through this card fairly quickly. Yes, we did. Let's put a little wink of Stella on these leaves, jazz them up a little tad. And I'm just kind of following the lines of stitching that we put in there with the die cut. Then I'm going to go along this edge of the label Doesn't have to be perfect. This is a handmade card. It doesn't need to look like it came off the assembly line all perfect. We want to let them know you made this card. Now, what do you think of that? Do y'all like a little more bling and a little more shine and a little more wink of Stella like this? Or do y'all prefer the more subtle without the bling and without the wink? I'd love to hear what y'all think. If you need any Stampin' Up! Products, we are still doing celebration through the end of September. So for every $50 you order out of the annual catalog or the mini catalog, you'll get an item free out of the celebration catalog. Or some of the items, you actually, when you spend $100, you get an even spiffier item. So anyway, I will be glad to help you. I'll turn the camera back up and say goodnight. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. We'll see. Hope to see y'all again soon. Hang on, let me switch this camera up. Alrighty. We should be good to go. Yay. Thanks for still being here. I know Judy just had knee surgery like I did recently, and so she had to go prop her foot up too. I bet. And let's see. There we go. Who wouldn't love to get a card that says you're amazing? I think these are beautiful fall colors, and I hope we get a chance to do several more fall cards and start the holiday cards. It won't be long. Can you believe it? It's a little cool in the air there. But thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for being part of the Create with Kelley crew. I appreciate it very much. And please share my video and let people know, let me know if you have a crafty friend who might want to attend a class later this month. I'll be doing some. So just let me know. Thanks again for tuning in. Fun times ahead. I appreciate it. Have a good evening. Bye.